Let's take a look at the AFC North and see what the Browns have to face. Everybody assuming the Browns will be one of the favorites. So here's what's happened since 2002, D-Man. Pittsburgh has won 8 titles, Baltimore 5, and Cincinnati 4, and that 0 still sitting there for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable, Les, about crowning the Browns already. And this is what Kitchens mentioned with his, oh, here we go, here's the Steelers update. I mean, Kitchens had said, hey, 7-8-1's nothing to celebrate. Too many people have already said the Browns are going to win the division next year. I think the Steelers should be the favorite.
Well, the Steelers are 9-6-1 last year, including that tie on opening day. Levine and Bell and Antonio Brown likely are gone. Roethlisberger turns 37 in March. And the backup quarterback's nothing much to look for. Mason Rudolph probably would be the guy to step in if there is an injury. That is the AFC North. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we take a look at the Baltimore Ravens. 10-6 last year, lost to the Chargers in the AFC wildcard game, and they traded Joe Flacco just the other day to Denver. That'll become official soon. Lamar Jackson takes over the role. D-Man, can he adapt to the NFL, and will the NFL adapt to him?
I think that there's an accuracy concern with Jackson, and I've come to believe that in the NFL, you either have accuracy or you don't.
Right, and you can't learn it.
It's almost impossible to coach it into a player, so it's going to be a difficult hurdle for Jackson to overcome, but he certainly has tremendous tools to cause problems for defenses.
Here comes the Cincinnati. Here come the Cincinnati Bengals, 6-10 last year. They have not had a winning record since 2015 when they went 12-4. They parted ways with Marvin Lewis after 16 seasons. That's pretty good longevity, but couldn't win playoff games either.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't buy that the Bengals are necessarily starting over because Marvin Lewis isn't there.
Right.
By their thought, if Andy Dalton and A.J. Green are healthy, they're not 6-10 last year. All right?
Correct.
So I'm not automatically writing off the Bengals as some terrible team. And I'm not trying to pour water on the Browns parade. I love what the Browns are doing, Dorsey and Kitchens and Mayfield and all this. But it's not going to be easy to supplant those 3 teams in the division, certainly not all at once, coming off a 7-8-1, which was only 1 year removed from an 0-16.
Do you think that Dorsey made a move here on Hunt that he didn't need to make at this point? Because it's putting more pressure on him, or it will?
Well, if he were not comfortable in his own skin, he wouldn't have made the move, okay? Because the safe play is, I'll pass, all right? Like a lot of teams probably would have said, we'll pass.
Including some members of the front office, probably, of the Browns.
Yeah, there probably was disagreement within the building, sure. But again, I go back to this. Dorsey's saying he's looking at the age, low to mid-20s, and he's looking at the skill, and he's saying, okay, in his mind, again, some people disagree, but in Dorsey's mind, this kid deserves a second chance. Right. I know him better than anyone in the NFL, all right, in terms of hierarchy. If he's going to get a second chance, why not have it be with me instead of somebody else? Okay, that's what Dorsey's thinking.
The other side, a lot of people, when it first came down, said, well, that'll be good. He's a Cleveland kid. That'll be good. That may not be the case in this case.
Sure, because he got into trouble at the 9 in Cleveland. There might have been, the put in base thing. And the reason I'm not worried about that, because first of all, I agree with you that just because he's coming home doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
But the reason I'm not worried about it is because I don't think John Dorsey really cared. I don't think it ran through his mind, oh, because he's a local kid, if we bring him back to a local pro team, we're gonna have an advantage. Right. I don't think that's how he viewed Hunt. I think the reason he wanted Hunt in here, number 1 was the talent, and number 2, he believes in the young man. He believes in the character of the young man who did a horrific thing and should be punished and will be punished significantly. And that, I want to ask you, Les, what do you think the punishment is going to be?
Well, I think Goodell has to make some kind of statement with his decision on how long it's going to be.
It can't be 4, because that's a steroid suspension.
I'm thinking of 6 at least.
Minimum, to me, it was a minimum of 8. I mean, I think at least half a season. And this goes to what you were saying to Mike. it's probably better. In fact, I know it's better that the signing occurs, the controversy happens, everybody talks about it, and then Hunt disappears from the headlines.
Right.
He goes and gets better and does his rehab, whatever he has to do to get better, the anger management, what have you, gets suspended, not seen or heard from for months. Browns can start their training camp without the Hunt thing hanging over them. It's probably better for all parties that he's not eligible right away.